Evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's the last Sunday of the month before Christmas. Happy Thanksgiving. It's the prominent professor at Proclamation News and Gatherance, back with more bona fide conservatism. Thank you so much. Thank you for supporting the show. We're live on Facebook, live on Castbox, we're live on YouTube as well. So for supporting the show. It's amazing how we can all actually come through and support the show time and time again. Thank you so much. I'm a capital P in proclamation. I'm a capital P in professor. I'm a capital P in progressive. I'm a capital P in progression. I'm a capital P in persuasion. I'm a capital P in proposive. I'm a capital P in propaganda. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for coming through. I'm like a mini Piers Morgan. Now I'm quite pragmatic. I'm quite etiquette how I do this job day in, day out. I'm not getting paid for what I do, but you got to love what you do to be the best. You know, be prosperous when own prosperity, man. You want to inspire, not expire. You got to keep working hard, haven't you? Day in, day out. You got to keep working on that provocative. What's my provocative? To provide good news for the audience. Absolute bona fide conservatism propaganda, and exactly what I intend to do. Keep the folks inspired, not expired. Anyway, I want to move on with your thoughts of Nigel Farage. To me, Nigel Farage he's a new trigger, isn't he? He's a new trigger of owning false notices in Parliament. Who in their right mind gave him a free entry to UK Parliament? Let alone run UKIP, Brexit Party, and his new Reform Party. He changes his political party name like he changes his underwear. Guy is a meltdown, a reckless politician. Only good thing about him is that he's almost a Tory, a Republican, one for the British people. But he's very reckless. They say, don't be a player hater, but play the game. But I cannot see an alcoholic run our country. I mean, it's supposed to be etiquette with sense. A politician is supposed to be, eye on the prize, eye on the community. Do you think Nigel Farage is fit for the job? I mean, he might have come out the other end, He might not be an alcoholic anymore, but he's a re-informed alcoholic, perhaps. That's why it's called the Reform Party. Who knows? I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. But one thing I do know, that he has been an alcoholic most of his life. Nigel Farage, I mean, I see him at many social gatherings, probably, with some form of getting involved in the condolences of, drinking absolute, untold amounts of alcoholism consumption. Absolutely. A politician is supposed to be an etiquette job description. Nothing etiquette with sense about Nigel Farage. I see him on the Trump campaign. He's like at a big gathering for the Trump campaign. I think was it in Philadelphia? Just trying to jog my memory. I think it's in Philadelphia. But he's at a massive gathering, all drinking alcohol, having a big bash as the Americans do. It looks like he's having wine and dining. So nothing's changed of Nigel Farage. I mean, how could he even run these parties that he's, re-informed, so to speak? Absolutely a shambles. Absolutely a shambles. Proclamation News and Gatherance is becoming absolute populism because I'm at etiquette sense. I have over 2,000 listeners on Castbox a week. Loyal supporters. We get the odd few come through on YouTube, but YouTube is all about monetization. As we know, it's what you put in is what you get out. I have zero money to put in, unfortunately, but I still get my loyal supporters coming through. So I'm adamant to do the same thing day in, day out till I get that support I needed. I'm doing it for giving the audience something good to listen to. I'm hoping I build a bigger, better establishment. I want to be not just as big as LBC, but somewhat near as important as LBC Radio. You tune in, you listen, you enjoy it, and you get some takeaway points for some of my knowledge. Maybe you got more knowledge yourself. You want to do some etiquette research with me. You know, when I say I'm pragmatic, I'm optimistic. I know there's more intelligent people than me within politics. I'm only in my second academic year of arts and humanities. Obviously, I've got some criminal law study. I've got some family law study. So I'm quite a knowledgeable guy. I don't intend to be the brainiest man. We've all got life of purgatory. We've all been through different court scenarios. All have our own problems with that life of purgatory. So you've all got an etiquette skill to bring to the table of success. Anyway, we're going to a bit of criminology, because we know I like criminology. We're talking about mens rea habilitations within criminology. Colchester Affleck Road murder. Right close to home. I mean, how many reporters do you know are brave enough to talk about something that's just happening on doorstep? It's absolutely tragic. It's tragic. It's not, but I suppose the family don't want to hear it. But we need to stop this happening for our other youngsters, youth of today, growing up. So that's the reason why I'm reporting it today. Colchester Affleck Road murder. A talented rapper, Swizzino, named as man stabbed to death in house and estate. Do you know, it's always bring up sporadic knife crime. Some things ring, you know, my ears ring, and I think I need to bring this out to the audience. You know, knife crime is a massive thing in the UK. It's a massive thing in the UK. It needs to be supported. You need to preach to your young ones, your youth, you know, youth of today, even in gyms, sports halls, any recreational grounds, and just hope this help for these youth of today, you know, taking one another's life through sporadic knife crime. The police are hand in hand, day in, day out, putting their lives on the line to support these victims. And there's tragics like this happening right before Christmas. Right before Christmas. Anyway, he's been described as an amazing, talented and well-loved young man. Police have revealed the man stabbed to death in a housing estate was talented and well-loved rapper Swizzino. Essex police rushed to Affleck Road on Greenstead Estate in Colchester shortly after 12:15 on Friday, December 11th, with reports of a fatal stabbing. Despite the best efforts of the paramedics. Sybil, 22, also known as Swizzino, was found injured and tragically pronounced dead at the scene. A teenager was also rushed to hospital from the scene for treatment for minor injuries. A 25-year-old man has been charged with his murder, while another 2 people have been arrested. You lot on Facebook, I'm looking straight at my camera on YouTube, so if you think I'm not looking at your screen directly, it's because I've got 3 different cameras on me at once. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Good as Swizzino's manager said, they are devastated by the news of his death of the amazing talent. The Essex MIT have been great in their investigations, and I applaud their work this far. My thoughts are with Swinzo's family, friends, son and mother of this child, as well as all the positive support from his community and fans. You know what? It's always jealousy and hatred. Someone that's trying to lead a path that's got a bit of it's a prospect. He's a prospect rapper. It's jealous people trying to ruin his legacy. That's all it is, you know. But everyone's trying to be something. Got an aspiration in life. You get someone that's not going to make it in anything. Going to take his life. Absolute shambles. We need to preach this to the youth today. Do not leave your house with a blade. Simple as. Any sharp objects. It's down to the parents to make sure this does not happen. Happens time and time again. Like I was saying earlier, guys, on Facebook, I'm looking at my camera on YouTube, so I'm not actually giving you my full attention on Facebook. Thank you for coming through, supporting the show. You will hear what I'm talking about in the journalism today. One of Swinzo's most popular songs was Mr. Essex, which had been viewed on YouTube more than 30,000 times. Speaking to local community, District Commander, Chief Inspector John Evans said, "I'd like to reassure the local community that we are treating this as a targeted, isolated incident. Since our appeal this morning, we've had locals send us CCTV and doorbell footage, as well as taking us through anything they may have seen or heard last night or early this morning. This is sporadic knife crime right on my doorstep in Colchester. Greensted. Greensted is a tight-knit community. We know that the answers to this crime will lie somewhere within it, whether that's in CCTV or dashcam footage, something you've heard or something you've witnessed. This is all what's happening in our local area. We've got some for the wider audience in London. Maybe, I don't know about overseas, you guys on Castbox, but thank you all for listening. This is WhatsApp rumours fear over the BAME COVID vaccine take-up. There's fears over this, the vaccine being taken up and the right people not getting, or not the right people, but not everyone getting a vaccine test. People from ethnic minorities in the UK are significantly less likely to take a coronavirus vaccine, with warnings of targeted online scaremongering. A study of the Royal Society of Public Health found 57% of Black, Asian and minority ethnic BAME. BAME means Black, Asian and minority ethnic. Just so you know, people said they would take the vaccine. This compared with 79% of the white people who would take the COVID vaccine. Vaccine Minister Nadhim Sahawat warned of the impact of conspiracy theories being shared online. Anti-vaccination messages have been specifically targeted at some ethnic and religious communities, said Christina Marriott, Chief Executive of the Royal Society for Public Health, RSPH. If you wonder why I'm looking up there, ladies and gents, I've got my YouTube on above the Facebook screen there. I'm trying to entice more people to support me on YouTube. Dame Donna Kinnair saw first-handed the impact of COVID on BAME communities. People send WhatsApp videos, all kinds of messages. If you don't know where that's coming from, then it's very likely to be inaccurate, said the Vaccine Deployment Minister. Mr. Sahawai, asking people to look at the health information for official sources rather than rumours. This is incredibly well-developed scientific endeavour, and I would urge everyone to take the information, read it, and then make up your mind, he said. Dame Donna Kinnair, Chief Executive of the Royal College of Nursing, said that apparent reluctance among BAME communities, that's Black, Asian, minority ethnics. Community flew in the face of the most in need of vaccinations, which she said she's seen firsthand. For someone like me who stood in a Nightingale and saw the row after row of the BAME patients being ventilated and seeing how disproportionately affected people from the BAME community, I'll be urging everybody to take the vaccine, she said. You've got to remember, I think there's 68 million people in the whole UK to get a vaccination. That's a hell of a lot of vaccinations to go around, if everyone is obliged to take it. Some people have their own opinion on the actual vaccination itself. Among the vaccine rumours rejected as groundless by independent health experts have been suggestions that vaccine could many online platforms, not just WhatsApp, but the messaging service is using spam detection technology to control how information is shared, and has partnered with reliable sources of information, including the World Health Organization, on a chatbot for the COVID questions. Jabir Butt, head of the Race Equality Foundation, said the findings on our ethnic minority take-up were particularly worrying. He warned the COVID vaccine may not reach the communities who had been worst affected and most disproportionately impacted by the virus. A study based on a survey of more than 2,000 adults across the UK revealed different levels of trust in the vaccination process among social and ethnic groups. Looking at the wealth gap, on average, more than 3/4 of people would take a coronavirus vaccine if they were advised to by the doctor of health professional. People on low incomes also seem less confident about a vaccine, with a wealth gap in the take-up. 84% of high earners plan to get vaccinated, compared with 7% of low earners. 55% of the Asian community would take the vaccine, the lowest acceptance. 14% in London were very unlikely to get vaccinated, the highest region for rejections. Women Women are more reluctant to take the vaccine than men. Miss Marriott, chief executive of the RSPH, said the findings were highly concerning that people from ethnic minorities and low incomes were less willing to be vaccinated. These are exactly the groups which have suffered most through COVID. They continue to be most risk of getting ill and most at risk of dying. So the government, the NHS and local public health must rapidly and proactively work with these communities, which she has said. I just want to say thanks to all you guys coming through and supporting the show. We're going more back into the local constituency of Essex. We're going to see what's going on during our COVID. Essex Tier 4, but we're staying in the Tier 2 system. Staying in the Tier 2 system in Colchester. Essex Tier 4. Colchester Zoo urges visitors from the Tier 3 and 4 to stay away. Anyone who booked tickets will be able to visit within the next 6 months. Colchester Zoo has asked visitors to stay away if there are in two highest coronavirus tiers. Yesterday, the majority of Essex was placed into Tier 4, the stricter tier, following a last-minute change to the Christmas rules from Prime Minister Boris Johnson. However, the zoo was not included in the tier change. Colchester Essex remains in Tier 2, along with Tendring and Uttersford. This means that the zoo is allowed to stay open. News that came as a relief to staff having only reopened at the end of November lockdown. With the news on Tier 4 being revealed yesterday, Saturday, December 19th, Colchester Zoo urged people not to visit if they are in either Tier 3 or 4. I think that's a fair enough statement for the zoo to give all the occupants visiting the Colchester Zoo. Absolutely, they've got to protect their staff, haven't they? They've got to protect everyone in the community as well. As we're in Tier 2, they don't want Tier 3s and 4s to come and infect our people if that is the case. Also, you guys on YouTube, I'll say again, I'm on my Facebook. So, all my guys, everyone on Facebook, I'm on my YouTube. So I'm looking at the screen above my phone. If you wonder, I am acknowledging you coming through, support me. I appreciate it. But I'm not looking directly at my camera as I'm talking. Sorry. They wrote as Colchester currently remains in Tier 2 in the zoo is open as usual with safety measures in place. Please help us keep the zoo safe. COVID-free environment by following government guidance and refrain from visiting if you are from T3 or 4 areas. Anyone who's bought tickets to the zoo but now can't visit because of new rules will be offered an extension on their ticket. Visitors will be able to exchange their ticket for an open-ended ticket that is valid for 6 months by going to the zoo's website. Pass holders are also able to cancel their bookings. Anyone who has booked an animal experience will also be able to rearrange by contacting the zoo's experience team. Colchester Zoo said, "Thank you for your cooperation and understanding. By following government guidance together, we can help reduce the spread of coronavirus. Please note that we are currently receiving a high volume of emails and phone calls, which we are doing the utmost to respond to. Thank you for your patience in the meantime." So if you're in the Essex area and you got family or niece, nephew, uncle and auntie and maybe visiting the zoo, it's well worth sharing this cast because I'm giving you local and regional news. All regional news. Sometimes I do national news. I've got international relations coming through supporting the show on Castbox and YouTube. COVID-19, our duty to act over Christmas plans, says Matt Hancock. Talk about Matt Hancock. There's not many. Well, you know what? There's always critics with every politician. They always want to put politicians down. Don't be a player hater. Play the game. That is my motto. I mean, I try not. I mean, you see me talking about Nigel Farage. I've got my reason behind it, but so is everyone else with their voice and their opinion. Many people ain't gonna like me. Not many people. You know, I might have more people hate me than they do like me, but I'm still doing something that's ethical with sense, you know. I'm trying to provide good regional and local news. The government does not want to cancel Christmas, but it is our duty to act as a new coronavirus variant is out of control. The Health Secretary says a strict new lockdown in London, the South East and the East of England could last for months, Matt Hancock said. Millions of people across the UK have seen the festive plans severely restricted or scrapped. Wales has also entered a new shutdown, with the Health Minister saying the new variant was seeded in every part. Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer said his party supported the latest restrictions, but he accused Prime Minister Boris Johnson of gross negligence in failing to act earlier. You know, I mean, Sir Keir Starmer, he does seem to support the government a bit better each time. He's always going to have his bitterness towards Boris. Well, whoever's in Prime Minister in the pole position before he is. It's just the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. Meanwhile, a growing number of countries have banned travel from the UK, including Belgium, Italy, and Netherlands, over the new variant. I mean, I'm not sure what to make of Sir Keir Starmer. I know he was he was a lawyer before he became a politician, so I'm not going to write him off. But you know what? Experience is very essential when you sit in the driver's seat. I mean, he's been a lawyer. I don't know if it's criminal law or what. Yeah, criminal law. He was in a criminal law lawyer. I know he you know, all the hype with him and Jimmy Savile, but yeah, he was a lawyer. So I'm not going to write him off his experience as a politician, because it's similar role, but it's not politics. Boris Johnson's been in politics for over 37 years. You know, you got to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, the experience. You can't respect someone that's more wiser. I mean, I've been following politics on and off. You know, I mean, I ain't say I knew it as I was a kid, but I knew it growing up. I was born in the postmodernism era of 1983 with Margaret Thatcher. And Jeremy Corbyn was MP of North London at 1983. And Jeremy Corbyn, he's got a lot of wisdom. And Sir Keir Starmer contradicts himself about Jeremy Corbyn. You know, he's bigging him up time and time again by the Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn. Sir Keir Starmer was bigging him up. And then in his second breath, he's sacking him. That's the biggest contradiction ever, if you ask me. Anyway, some 21 million people in England and Wales who went into new restrictions at midnight are being told to stay at home, while non-essential shops and businesses have to close. The planned relaxation of rules for Christmas has been scrapped for those under England's toughest new Tier 4 measures, while in the rest of England, Scotland and Wales, relaxing indoor mixing rules over holidays have been cut from the 5 days to Christmas Day only. Mr. Matt Hancock said it was important for everybody to act like they might have the virus, because we need to bring the new variant under control. He added, of course, we don't want to cancel Christmas. We don't want to take any one of these measures, but it's our duty to take them when the evidence is clear. The Health Secretary said he did not know how long the Tier 4 measures would be in place. It may be for some time until we can get the vaccine going. Residents in Tier 4 are being asked to stay at home unless for essential journeys, while people in other tiers are advised not to travel into the new Tier 4 areas. I'm going to have my own input shortly. New border checkpoints. Transport Secretary Grant Shapps said it was very important that people follow the new travel guidance in England and do not attempt to travel, saying extra British transport police officers were being deployed. A ban of travel between Scotland and the rest of the UK will also be over the festive period. Police Scotland said it would be doubling its patrols on the borders, but it would not be introducing checkpoints. Scotland's restrictions will only be relaxed on Christmas Day, with mainland Scotland being placed under the tightest restrictions from Boxing Day. In the Northern Ireland, where the planned relaxation of rules in Christmas is going ahead unchanged, 4 of the 5 main parties have called for an urgent meeting to discuss the restrictions. I mean, I can only but imagine how hard it is for some families. We are so lucky in this Essex region, in Tendring, Colchester. Anything past, you're in a Tier 4 system. You can't go visit your loved ones, your family. I got one of my best mates. He's up near Basden sort of way. He's put his family in the same district as me, and he can't commute to see his family. You know, that's his livelihood. That's where he's brought up. That's his bread and butter. He can't visit over Christmas. Some people are left distraught over Christmas. You know, they're going to sit eating their Christmas dinner. They're going to be thinking about their loved ones, their parents, and they can't visit. So I know how distraught some families can be, you know, but they're taking drastic measures to have future pleasures. You know, you got to take actions to stop the spread of coronavirus. People say they're adamant that it's a conspiracy theory. There's so many people close to home, in schools, all kinds of businesses having to shut because of COVID. A lot of people getting infected by COVID-19. We don't really mix in households, drinking, partying like it's gone out of fashion just because it's Christmas celebration. You've got to change your traditional time of year. Simple as that. You can't be gallivanting, going around friends, having a nice Christmas bash. You've got to be sensible. Enjoy it with your loved ones, because you don't know how long your loved ones could be around because of what's going on. Don't take life for granted. Enjoy yourself. I'll spend it with my loved ones, and you know, I'm going to make the best of this opportunity, because you might not get this opportunity again, so appreciate it. PM's announcement on the restrictions came just after he defended the plans to relax restrictions for 5 days during the festive period, despite calls by some in the medical profession to scrap the change. Sir Keir told an online press conference that it is blatantly obvious that last week that Mr Johnson's plan to relax the rules over Christmas was a risk too far, adding that his claim that this is all down to the new form of the virus that has just emerged does not stand up to scrutiny. He said the alarm bells have been ringing for weeks, with rising infections and NHS research and capacity in some parts of the country, but the Prime Minister chose to ignore it. I mean, Boris Johnson's trying to do the best. I'm not going against Sir Keir Starmer. I'm not sticking up with Boris Johnson, but in my eyes, if I'm thinking myself, if I was in his shoes, if Sir Keir Starmer was in his shoes, his outlook would be totally different as well. You've got to try and use your ears as well as your brain. You've got to sort of go with what the democracy want, but also you've got to try and protect them at the same time. So you open up corridors to give people a bit of freedom, then you've got to close them back down because they've had too much freedom. You give them an inch and they've taken a mile. They've taken too much advantage of the restrictions being loose, having local gatherings, local parties, not sticking to the lockdown rules, and etc. etc. You know, imagine me or you in his shoes. How'd you go about secluding everyone gradually into a lockdown without a massive riot? You look at all the critics on social media saying, "Oh, it's all Boris Johnson's fault. COVID-19's here. You know, it's China's fault. This, that, and the other." But really, it's man-made. Regardless if it's China, in England, Scotland, Wales, France, Italy, Brazil, it's man-made. It's tragic, and it's out there. Swine flu's hit us. We've had, you know, foot and mouth. That's by the cows. All kinds of things. We had the black fog. Another thing that was similar to COVID. We got in. I think did it get in fish, and it also got into animals, I believe. The big black. Was it the fog or the mog? The mog, I believe. London Mayor Sadiq Khan. I do like London Mayor Sadiq Khan. I don't know what your upvote on him is, but I think he should be the Labour leader, as he's been in this job description for quite a long haul, I suggest. London Mayor Sadiq Khan told BBC Breakfast the 11th hour announcement is a bitter blow for families and businesses, saying it is the chop change. Stop-start that's led so much anguish, despair, sadness and disappointment. He urged Londoners to follow the rules, which he has said he'd been brought in for a very good reason, adding the NHS has told him that hospitals in London had as many COVID patients this week as they did at the peak of the virus in April. Tier 4 restrictions, similar to England's second national lockdown. Tier 4 applies to Kent, Buckinghamshire, Berkshire, Surrey, excluding Waverley, Gosport, Havant, Portsmouth, Warwick and Hastings. It also applies in London. All 32 boroughs and the City of London and the East of England, Bedford, Central Bedford, Milton Keynes, Luton, Peterborough, Hertfordshire and Essex, including Colchester, Uttlesford and Tenyon. Residents are told to stay at home, with exceptions for those who have to travel to work for education. Household mixing indoors is not allowed unless you live with them or they are part of your existing support bubble. All non-essential retail to close, industrial hairdressers, nail bars, indoor gyms and leisure facilities. Social mixing cut to meeting one person in open public space. Communal religious worship is still allowed. The measures will be reviewed on the 30th of December. Non-variant, much more infectious. Suzanne Hopkins from Public Health England said they alerted the government on Friday that the new variant, first identified in the middle of October from a sample taken in September, was spreading faster than other viruses circulating. Dr. Hopkins told the BBC Andrews Marr programme that there was evidence that people with the new strain had higher viral loads, which meant they were more infectious. She also said findings had shown the new variant was up to 7% more transmissible, based on modelling the rate of increase in the new strain compared to others in restrictions. Everyone on Facebook, I was just letting everyone know I'm on my YouTube, which is above my phone, so I'm looking at the camera above me. There's still some reason for hope. The steep increase in the proportion of coronavirus cases linked to the new variant is strong evidence that is driving the transmission. It may explain why, during the second lockdown, cases started to increase in London, while in Kent, the Tier 3 measures appear to have had little impact in recent weeks. As England's Chief Medical Officer, Professor Chris Whitty, says, this is a bad moment, but there's also some hope. The Prime Minister announced 350,000 cases of people had been given the first dose of vaccine in the first 2 weeks of the programme. In the coming weeks, the number of GP-led vaccination clinics should increase sixfold, while approval of the second vaccine made in Oxford University could pave the way for mass vaccination centres to be set up. This could see 2 million people a week being vaccinated with a matter of months. All over 65 could have been offered a jab. This could then start to feel very different, but for now, the slog of the pandemic continues. And for many, it's just got harder. Bear with me 2 seconds, ladies and gents. We're going to have a short break. Still got a fair bit to get through, so everyone on YouTube, thank you so much. You've got a bit of feminism coming on, supporting feminism today. You know, I do support feminism to a certain degree, because I'm all about equalities, absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's proper Matt and Gavin's. It's with the prodigious, it's a prominent professor at PNG. Why get involved? You want to get involved in politics, you know where to start. Party politics, people politics, help the ecosystem, pollution to our environment. Talk about hydro politics, anything. You know, you want to take a part, you want to have your voice heard. You want to get involved in environmental friendly and stop pollution to businesses, such as all kinds of business, farming, pollution of the air. You want to get involved. How to start? Well, I'll give you a bit of detail. Firstly, please subscribe, share. I want more subscribers, more followers. It's the prodigious, the prominent professor at PNG. How to get involved? Speak to one of your local constituency MPs. I'm a Conservative trainee councillor at the moment. I'm looking at all business, the sociological side of things in business. How does it interrupt in our business? Maybe their business too close to a suburban area in a stage of criminology. Anyway, as a member, if you want to become a member, you can play a key role in the party, supporting the work we're doing in government and contributing the ideas, policies and future of the party. You'll be invited to join us at party conference and to attend local and national events. And if you if you're just joining us, once you've been a member for 3 months, you can also take part in the party elections. To reduce our environmental impact, we are no longer issuing plastic membership cards. Please be assured that this does not impact your membership. You'll never be asked to produce a card to provide your membership. Our members are our most important campaigners. Your support is enabling us to build a bright future. It's only about, I think it's £25 a year. I think it's £2 a month. You pay over a month. You feel you like that, have a takeaway at the weekend, or have a takeaway once a week. It's nothing, is it? It's nothing at all. Or go to the pub. Spending money on, just cut down the activities. You want to help have your voice heard. It's very important. What your membership gets you, does it get you fish and chips? Well, what's it get you? It's very important to subscribe to Proclamation News and Gavin. It's giving you the key evidence of what's entailed of signing up with a party. I'm conservative. I always say it's bona fide conservative and working on progressive progression. You can help us win elections. All of your subscription goes towards our campaigns. It gets the latest from inside the party, with regular member updates and exclusive member invites. Take part in our campaign groups like our Conservative Women's Organisation, the Young Conservatives, or Conservative Friends. The Conservative Friends group. Meet like-minded people and make a difference to our country. They influence party policy by giving feedback on policy and the briefs. Choose candidates and vote for leadership elections, so you can choose the people you want to represent you. Come to party conference and spring forum. Join our MPs, councillors and activists at the biggest events of the Conservative calendar. Connect with local Conservatives as a member. You'll become part of your local association, support local campaigns and attend social events with members just like you. So it's, being part of something, it's like, supporting your local football team, supporting the whole environment. Talk about supporting the government. It's being in part of something. It's very important to be part of something. You want to be something, you want to go somewhere, so you need to wake up and pay attention. Stand for election as a member. You have the opportunity to stand for election as a Conservative. So if you decide that you want to take part in democracy, you can. This is Proclamation News and Gavin with the prodigious Pond Professor at PNG, ladies and gents. Help share and subscribe. I need more listeners. I'll put a lot of entertainment onto my YouTube channel, singing, all kinds of entertainment, a bit of comedy. I've had a bit of comedy in the recent past. It's worth following my YouTube channel to get an insight of what's, it's good content. It's good. I've got a lot of segments on my YouTube, like an entrepreneur as such. I've got singing, rapping, all kinds of stuff. I'm trying to bring a wider audience into my YouTube channel. It should be a YouTube channel with massive gatherings, but not enough subscribers. So the more subscribers, the more benefit is for me. This is a business, a small growing business. It needs to be backed by the exchequer with a big paycheck, and we get this ball rolling. This is Proclamation News and Gavin with a prodigious Pond Professor. This has been going for over 2 years now. Media studies since 1994, 95, I believe. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for giving me the time of day. Make sure you tune in. I'm going to be following through my live content just shortly. Take care, my love, and speak soon. Thank you, ladies and gents, for staying tuned. I'm just doing my YouTube and my Castbox. I'm live on Facebook as well, ladies and gents. The guy, everyone's sitting here supporting me on Facebook as well. I'm looking at my camera, which is just above the phone. We're talking about UK politics. Before we go to the next chapter, we're talking about supporting feminism. Supporting, in general, PAYE pay bracket. They don't, they do deservedly, they need equal. We talk about equalities. The Conservatives are about equalities, supporting feminism, all genders, ethnicities, all across the, a fair crack at the whip, I like to say it. Women should be the same pay bracket as men. We look at sporting athletes. You've got professional footballer, you've got professional boxer, men and women. Men get
much more substantial amount of money than women do. It needs to be supported, so it is absolutely equality down the middle. But I've got my pros and cons to both sides of the argument. I do support feminism absolutely, and they're not paid and worshipped the same as a man when it comes to business. Because, like I say, a professional footballer will get, for Arsenal, will get £200,000 a week. A woman probably gets about £4 grand a week. I'm not sure. I don't know exactly what women get, but I know their sponsors are nothing like what the men's get. And same as boxing as well. You've got Nicola Adams, probably beat up half the men in the men's boxing industry, but she does not get the same pay bracket as a man. So they're not supported in equal rights. But then when it shoes on the other foot, when it comes to parent alienation, 9 times out of 10, it's usually the father over the woman. But we've got to make this contradiction of both things and make it subtle, straight down the middle, 50-50 and everything. Make it fair, a fair shout. And how can we move on? You've got people like Mary Wollstonecraft, magical philosophers of years and years, decades old. It's been going on feminism, this feminism argument of equalities or inequalities, if you like, inequalities when it comes to the social outcome. The absolute social outcome. You look in the household, men will expect their wife or their girlfriend to do the dishes, to do the washing machine, because most men become binaural when it comes to, can you use a washing machine? And go, I don't know how to turn it on. It's been proven with professor scientific researchers. Well, it's it yourself. Being a man herself, we've become binaural in years. I've been living on my own for a few years now, and I've been managing to keep myself maintained. I've always wanted to do my own washing because I like my appearance to be spot on, spectacular. Although I'm not wearing iron clothes today, I'm just in a lounge about kind of uniform. Anyway, moving on as we go into gender pay. Priti Patel is in the headline. No, sorry, my bad. Oh, I don't think it's going to let me get in. That's a shame. It's a headline. I don't think it's going to let us get into it, unfortunately. It's in the Independent today. So, gender pay gap widens at Women and Equalities Minister's Department. Disparity between the number of men and women in the top pay bracket at the Department for International Trade doubles in a year. The gender pay gap has significantly widened at the government department run by Women and Equalities Minister Liz Truss. Labour said the growing divide raises serious questions about the government's commitment to equality and accused Department of International Trade (DIT) of having snuck out the official figures on Tuesday. Published without failure under. Unfortunately, we're not going to get through that. But yeah, I was heading with that. I was just letting you know about the inequalities of the women's pay bracket to the man's. It's not nice, is it? I mean, I remember reading philosopher Mary Wollstonecraft. She says women are not treated as fair as men because they're weak and feeble. That's a woman philosopher saying, but she's saying it in a such way that they should be supported with equalities, rather than being discriminated that they're different, because they're compared to a lot of men are weak and people. I know a lot of women are probably 10 times stronger. Well, I know a lot of women are 10 times stronger than me, but they're still not getting a fair crack at the whip. Firm and fair asylum system will keep out those who arrive by illegal routes, Patel. This is Priti Patel in the headlines. Priti Patel would tell the Conservative Party faithful that the UK's asylum system needs overhaul. The Home Secretary will promise an asylum system that is firm and fair when she speaks at the Conservative Party conference later. Priti Patel will present a system that would see the government routinely denying asylum to migrants who cross the English Channel on boats or via illegal routes. I'm just updating you. This is, propaganda that's a few weeks old. But it's important as we coming out with Brexit. Where do people stand in the EU with immigrants, so on and so forth? This would include migrants who pay criminal gangs or smugglers to help them reach the UK. But legal routes would be created for those at risk of harm. She has promised. Ms. Patel in the Sunday Times, currently everybody that comes to our country and makes an asylum claim, they are treated the same, irrespective of the route which they have entered our country, and simply it isn't right. It comes after the government was widely criticised after reports emerged that it had considered housing asylum seekers on discussed oil rigs, banished them to camps in Moldova and Papua New Guinea, or building floating walls in the sea to keep them out. Ms. Patel will speak at the Conservative Party conference later and will commit to the biggest overhaul of our asylum system in decades. She will say under Conservative leadership, the United Kingdom has and always will provide sanctuary when the lights are being switched off by the people's liberties. Ms. Patel will say from the explosion of the Ugandan Asians from a repressive regime, the proudly resetting more Syrian refugees than at any other EU country to supporting campaigning fleeing political persecution in Hong Kong. Resettled refugees are those who come to a new country as part of a specific scheme run by that country. But most refugees arrive in the EU as asylum seekers, not as part of a scheme. According to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, Germany is the only European country that makes enough refugees to rank the top 10 refugee host countries. Which, thinking like a David Attenborough outlook, the outlook of life. We had this yesterday. Going back to David Attenborough's outlook of life. I like the way he, on his biography channels that he does, the documentary of his outlook of life, run out of resources, aren't we? Run out of resources, global warming, global climate change, population growth. Population growth is the reason why we're going to end up running out of resources. Not enough trees to educate children, paper, books, artwork. Artists need any paper to paint on, don't they? Let's face it, I'm a bit of an artist. I don't sit here and say I'm the best artist in the world, but with every artist, regardless of what quality are you an artist, and it's a time, the apparent time that you show your artwork that makes you the well-known artist. There's a pocket for anyone to get noticed. There's a pocket for anyone to get supported in anything they do with an etiquette sense. It's how hard you keep at it. Doesn't matter how good you are, it's how you keep at it in an etiquette sense. Methodical way of whatever you do in life. If you're an electrician, there could be a better electrician down the road, but if you're getting the work, if you're getting your name out there, or if you're a chef tossing burgers at Burger King, there's probably a better Burger King burger tosser down the road. But it's how much effort you put into it, how much you enjoy your job, how much methodical madness you put into it. You wake up, you turn up. You've got compassion for your job. You go to sleep, none, I've got to do the same predicament tomorrow. That's what makes the success of progressive progression. Keeping inspired, not expired. Absolutely. Ms. Patel's new system will stop people who make endless legal claims to remain in the UK, and it will expedite the removal of those who have no claim for protection. I will take every necessary step to fix a broken system, amounting to the biggest overhaul of our asylum system in decades, Ms. Patel will say. We will continue to hunt down the criminal gangs who traffic people to our country. I will continue to use the full force of our outstanding National Crime Agency and the intelligence agencies to go after them. We will make more immediate returns of those who came here illegally and break our rules every single week. And we'll explore all practical measures and options to deter illegal migration. Government figures show there were 34,354 asylum applications in the UK in the year ending September 2019, 22% more than the previous year, and the highest number since the year ending in June 2016. It's important that we're taking action of population growth, isn't it? We don't want people just to keep coming in. I know we've got common numbers bringing that population down, but we've also got to make accountable for rebirth of families, of their children, having children, so on and so forth. Now, not what could be here in the future if we let it happen. And that's what Pretty Patel's doing. She's stopping population growth from coming, from overseas. We've got to put our borders up. Our borders should have been up a long time ago. We're taking action now in full charge. It's under Boris Johnson's government, so the critics can write him off with COVID. All the critics in, Castbox, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I've seen it all. The Prime Minister hasn't got a clue what he's doing. But while he is Prime Minister, these things are getting put in place. So you can only think to yourself, actually, he's doing a good job considering he's up against this climate of pandemic lockdown, trying to keep everyone under control rather than going AWOL. Having further policing, criminology, bigger, better infrastructure. We're going to stick with capitalism. We're a capitalism country, aren't we? Absolutely. Theresa May sold the NHS off in 2017 in a Naylor review, which is complete capitalism. I don't think people understand, what is going on with. We sell things to foreign currencies to make bigger, better infrastructure that we can afford in our own country, to maintain our dominion, to support. You need better equipment for cancer patients. You need better equipment for baby unit, incubators, so on and so forth. In our Colchester unit, we didn't have the incubators that are needed for my son who's now got cerebral palsy. Boris Johnson to hold press conference as a third lockdown looms. PM to hold Downing Street briefing with top scientists amid spike in the COVID case and fears over the new variants rapid spread. Boris Johnson has announced Christmas relaxations will be tightened across England. A new Tier 4 lockdown will also be introduced in London, South East and the East. We'll explain what you can and can't do under the new rules. Boris Johnson and their scientific advisors will hold a Downing Street press conference at 4 p.m. on Saturday. Amid reports he will announce new stricter rules for Christmas in England. Prime Minister is speaking to the Cabinet Ministers after the alarm was raised over the sharp spike in COVID infections, particularly in London and the South East. He will appear with Chief Medical Officers Chris Whitty and Chief Scientific Officer Patrick Balance in a televised briefing on Saturday afternoon. He will appear with Chief Medical Officer Chris Whitty and Chief Scientific Officer Patrick Balance. It is reported in the recent identified new variant of coronavirus may be more infectious, and there is evidence of a third wave is building. Whitty said the government has alerted the World Health Organization, WHO it's called, over the new variant's rapid spread, and underlined it was more vital than ever the public could take precautions. The news comes as families prepare for Christmas with a 5-day relaxation of restrictions still planned for December the 23rd to the 27th. Health Secretary Matt Hancock said last week the virus has doubled in the space of 7 days in some parts of the south or east. Whitty said in a statement, as a result of the rapid spread in the new variant, preliminary modelling data and rapidly rising incident rates in the southeast, the new and emerging respiratory virus treats advisory group, the NERV TAG it's called, now consider that new strain can spread more quickly. We've alerted the WHO and are continuing to analyse the available data to improve our understanding. There's no current evidence to suggest the new strain causes a higher mortality rate or that it affects vaccines and treatment, although urgent work is underway to confirm this. Given the latest development, it is now more vital than ever that the public continue to take action in an area to reduce transmission. Scotland's First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, meanwhile, he said pre-action may be necessary. To stop faster spreading strain taking hold. Wales First Minister Mark Drakeford said he would chair a meeting on his cabinet later. He tweeted attending a Four Nation call earlier today to discuss serious concerns of the spread of new COVID variants. I will chair a meeting of the Welsh Government Cabinet on 2 p.m. today. On Friday, the R rate jumped above the crucial number 1 and is now 1.1 to 1.2, having been 0.9 to 1 the previous week. Shadow Health Secretary Jonathan Answorth has called for a government set-up plan. This is an incredibly serious moment, and all the people are worried. The Prime Minister has refused to take action to limit the virus. Spread over Christmas, all he has offered so far is confusion and indecision, he said. He must now address the nation to explain what action he will be taking. Got a technical. Bear with me 2 seconds. It should come back in 2 seconds. It happens sometimes. We are back on our. I don't know why it does that. It really is a myth. Moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming to support the local propaganda on proclamation and gatherings. Got a bit of no business like show business. Our employers back requirement for large firms to disclose ethnicity pay gaps. So they're trying to support equalities. 3/4 employers want large firms to be forced to release data on the pay gap between staff of different ethnicities. A leak to report shows. Findings seen by the BBC came from the consultation exercise on ethnicity pay gap reporting launched by Theresa May in October 2018. This is magnificent, isn't it? We're supporting equalities right across our border. Absolutely. Malcolm X would be happy with this. Absolutely. Nelson Mandela would be happy with what we're doing. It's all about supporting equalities. Everyone can bring success to the table. Why not get paid the same? The PM promised to help employees identify that action needs to create a fairer and more diverse workforce. But 2 years later, the government has yet to respond. I mean, this put feet in United States of America. United States of America, the equalities of ethnicities is appalling. How the police treat different ethnic minorities over there. You see it time and time again. A lot of racial attacks come through their police force, shooting. That's why Black Lives Matter happened, because the police were taking Black Lives Matter out of context, being unfortunate towards them, absolutely, causing provocation in all communities. Still happening. It's happened for years and years over there until they get rid of guns, I believe. Guns could be, part of solving the problem. They got to hit the root of the problem. All told, stop picking on, the minority, the ethnic minority. Labour has urged Boris Johnson to get on with it. As it was clear, the business community and unions backed the policy. The business department said it would respond to the consultation in due course. The document obtained by the BBC shows there were 321 responses to the consultation, including from 93 private sector employees, 42 public sector employees, and 67 business organisations. I mean, I have chats every day on the Stereo application, which is, it's what I like to call ethnic experience. I can speak to, I'm mixed race myself. I can speak to any ethnic minority I want to because I think I'm polite. I get on with everyone. I accept them, they accept me. So, I have a nice, pragmatic conversation with them about how they're treated in their society, and everyone's the same. Race is a big thing in the United States. They're treated differently, disrespected, discriminated. They feel distraught. It's how they're legal authorities as well. They're not adequate within their job description. Equality is massive in England. It is supported to a substantial amount, but there's still some friction there. There's still some friction there. What people don't realise, what I said before in World War One, where I think it was 2.5 million Muslims in our World War supporting us in the trenches and the war. So why people, jump on this racial bandwagon against the Islamophobia, left, right and centre. Multiculturalism, ethos is a word I say it time and time again. Document obtained by the BBC shows there were 321 responses to the consultation, including from 93 private sector employees, 32 public sector employees, and 63 businesses organisations. Of these groups, 73 supported compulsory ethnicity pay gap, reporting for organisations with more than 250 staff. A similar requirement is already in place for reporting of firms' pay gap gender. Although it has been lifted this year because of coronavirus, a petition calling for introduction of policy gained more than 130,000 signatures earlier this year, meaning the issue should be debated in Parliament. Responding to the petition in July, the Department of Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy said it will still need analysing the consultation and promised to respond by the end of the year at the latest. Behind the curve, it highlighted what it called genuine difficulties in designing a methodology that produces accurate figures that allows for interpretation and action from employers, employees, and the wider public. A spokesperson from the department said, "We are working closely with business to consider what steps can be taken to build more inclusive workplaces." Official guidance to departments carrying out consultations say the government should respond within 12 weeks of consultation or provide an explanation for why this is not possible. Shadow Women and Equality Secretary Marsha D. Cordova said, "Labour has long been calling for introduction of mandatory ethnicity pay gap reporting. The business community and trade union are all calling for it. It is time for the government to get on with it, as they are only behind the curve of this." Consultation summary documents seen by the BBC said respondents had mixed views on whether pay gap reporting should be between white and all black, Asian and ethnic minority staff, or a breakdown of ethnic groups. A number of businesses already voluntarily published their data, including professional services firm Deloitte, which latest figures show a 14.5% mean gap. Heartbreaking. Consultation. Nadine Dyer, the chair of Deloitte's Multicultural Network, is working with leaders at the company to reduce inequality. As a black woman, it is not fair that I could be sitting next to someone in the office and are earning more than me just because of the colour of my skin, she said. Absolutely correct information. I'll make a right on that. And if anyone, becomes a critic and say they deserve less, is bang out of order. She deserves equalities. Exactly the same pay bracket. If you think about it, it can be heartbreaking. I use that to drive me forward. In October, 30 business leaders wrote to Boris Johnson calling for the mandatory duty to be introduced, saying, "We don't see it as a burden." CBI President Lord Coran Billy Morey told the BBC the move makes business sense and it's the right thing to do. What gets measured gets done, he said. Our members want to disclose their ethnicity pay gap because they know this is such an important issue. If they address the issue, they will have companies that are more diverse, more inclusive, more profitable, more innovative. A major review of race in the workplace in 2017, led by Baroness Rugby McGregor Smith, recommended that employers with more than 50 staff subject should be subject to legal disclosure requirement. Not quite sure what happened there. The camera is always moving. A short break, ladies and gents. Have a little bit of Christmas sing along. Thank you all for coming in supporting the show. Like everyone on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, and I'm looking at the camera above the screen. So you're thinking, why not looking?
Spending money on.
Oh, my back is killing me. Do you know what? Sitting here, my shoulders. Anyway, let's be having it.
You better stay in, you better not fly, you better wear masks, I'm telling you why. Boris Johnson's locking you down. Making a list, checking it twice, moved on a lot from promoing bikes. Boris Johnson's locking you down. He hears you and you're coughing while on that shopping spree. So stay indoors quick and collect or he'll put you in tier 3. So you better not sneer, you better not jest, you better not have that 7th house guest. Boris Johnson's locking you down. Now all the pubs in London are back to serving booze, which Boris said can't go ahead if they serve it up with food. So sing happy birthday and sing it twice while washing your hands upon his advice. Boris Johnson's locking you down. And don't be a putz, don't be a fool. COVID spreads more in pubs than at school. Boris Johnson's locking. Boris Johnson's locking. Boris Johnson's locking you down.
Thank you, ladies and gents. Coming up to the preliminary article, ladies and gents. Thank you all again for supporting the show. After the new year, we're coming back with a brand new edition of Proclamation News and Gatherings. I want to actually build a bigger, better establishment of supporters and get more people doing some nitty-gritty interaction with the show. I want to hear your point of views. I want to see I'd like to hear about your view of the world. As I see it, as it stands now. I mean, I've always said, even before, you learn the basics, of the principles of life, going to church, and as a young age, being a Christian or whatever your religion or whatever your views, you sort of understand through school and schooling that man on earth, that's theoretically speaking, man on earth is the destroyer of Earth, of the world. It's absolute acceptance of an outlook of life. Population growth will be taking our national resources. It will be either one bit ozone layer or some kind of pollution that could end a whole lot of us in the end if we don't act now. If we don't act now, population growth, keep making it accountable for reproduction. Everything's got to be accountable for reproduction, population growth, food produce, materials. Talking about globalization, industrialization. Everything can double if we let it, but we've got to keep control of it. Anyway, moving on, ladies. Thank you all for supporting the show. I just want to hear other people's point of view, from their view of the way of life. And I'd rather people with a bit of an etiquette sense, rather than get people on rack. I mean, it doesn't matter if you take alcoholism or narcotics. It does matter. But, I'm going to agree to disagree here. So that you're going to get critics coming on board saying this, that, and the other. And I don't want to be scrutinated for a publication that is perfect with sense, in my sense. Your sense is different to my sense, but we've all got our own opinion, and you've got a National Bill of Rights, freedom of speech. So yeah, say your freedom of speech, but if it affects my noblemanship, I may upset the way you approach me. So be kind, be sweet, be a gentleman if you're going to do that. Come on board, speak to me, tell me your views of the world, population growth, industrialisation, national resources. If we keep growing population growth, give me, what's your views of the world? Is it all sunshine and rainbows? Like, what's your life bringing you? Is it bringing you to tears, mental health, any kind of deprivation? Anyway, moving on now, ladies and gents. No business like show business. I go off on a bit of a tangent and start waffling sometimes. But, I'm talking sense. Marcus Rashford's mum. Sometimes we didn't even have bread in the house. For the first time, Marcus Rashford's mum, Mel Maynard, tells BBC Breakfast about their family struggles they had during the footballers' campaign against child food poverty. But now he's earning like £200,000 a week, and he's ordering the government to support kids in jeopardy. Did he make a massive donation out of his money that he earns? Did he play half a season for free to help subsidise the cost of children in poverty? So it's all well and good having your say. So if Richard Branson, one of the richest men in the world, such as Marcus Rashford, is wealthier than 90% of the listeners. And I'm not going to write the fellow off, because he's made a good point, but as he put his hand shed for money into the process, because he's earning more than what a politician can earn in a week, and then what a politician can earn in a year. So he's getting a bit irrational above his own station, saying we should be supporting children. Well, okay, Marcus Rashford, you are earning what we can earn in a year. How about you delve into a few months worth of wages and support support the cause, and then get all the other professional athletes in the world, or actors as well, top flight actors in the world, to dip in their pocket and support as well. Because if I was in that substantial wealthiness, I'd be doing exactly the same thing. If I could build my YouTube, my Castbox following, and have exactly the same support in a wealthy generosity man that I'd be, I would give it out, because I wouldn't be subsidising an alcohol addiction or a narcotic addiction, because I don't do neither. I'm fluent every day, methodical approach every day is to produce good, etiquette news. I'm going to be a critical finger for the rest of the remainder of my life, to produce good quality news and get good support, and support people having citizen hardship in life, because I've been through it time and time again. I can't ever end smiling for change. I will get there. God cannot harm a trier, so never give up hope. Never give up trying. Whatever you do in life, keep working. Keep working. Think of that aspiration in life. You've got a legacy that you're following. You want to be that legacy that you work towards. If it's The Rock, WWE wrestler, or if it's Billy Elliot, ballerina dancer, or if it's Anthony Joshua, heavyweight boxing champion of the world. You've all got that aspiration in life that you want to grow up and be somebody. I'm sitting here now, I'm being a tenor speaker, but maybe I don't feel I'm appreciated enough, I'm supported enough. I want to be better, bigger, better, and fight all kind of different challenges in life. And get some, he's saying the right thing. He's producing content and different segments that we're all suffering from day in, day out of their own life. That's exactly what I want to do. I want people to come to the standstill going, we need this guy to, help us through from, something must touch a nerve. When I go to church, I listen to the evangelists speak, and he's saying certain things about Jesus. Irrelevant if you or me believe, the total true story, but it hits a nerve because it's true, because it's in your life. Whatever that says in that Bible, if it's gospel or if it's reality or if it's, purest as can be, it's touching a nerve because it's happening in your life and you believe it. One day that you believe something that hard, you will achieve it. So you've got to keep working on that progression. Never give up hope. God will not hurt a trier. So keep trying to be the best version of you. Come into New Year. Have different aspiration in life. Got furloughed off work. Maybe you can head in a different direction. You got to keep inspired, not expired. Take that grant, that wish for a U-turn to go to different diversity, have a different challenge, make new acceptance. Always be prosperous, Ryan. Prosperity matters. And have a wonderful Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. Happy New Year from Proclamation News and Garants with the prodigious, the prominent Professor Johnson. Thank you all for listening. I really appreciate it. It's been a magical show. I really appreciate you all coming through today, supporting me time and time again. I'll be back tomorrow as well. I don't put a schedule. I do need to schedule my dates, but with my Raynaud's disease, in the cold nights, cold month, cold sleeping pattern, I don't have a great sleep, so I don't like to put a schedule on things because it's, to me, it's putting a plan on things. If I'm tired, I'm not going to be as encouraging. I'm not going to be as enticing with my audience. I'm not going to be as motivated. I'm going to be fatigued. Thank you anyway for the show. Time again. God bless. Take care. Have a wonderful Christmas. I'll see you before Christmas anyway with a few more shows. Take care. One love. Speak soon. God bless. Don't forget to have Christmas with your loved ones, because it could be your last Christmas. I'm not saying it will be, but heaven forbid it happens to none of us. The best of us, the worst of us, the worst of you got time to admit your flaws and better yourself. There's new heights for you to gain, my friend. You got to make that change. You got to own up to your flaws, make that change. Come into a new year, a new era, brand new edition, a brand new version of you. So admit your flaws, pick yourself up, move on, bet yourself. There's loads of opportunities out there to be taken. It's down to you to make them opportunities. Take them and bet yourself. That's all I can say. I've been for the mill of life, absolutely. I've been living life of purgatory since I was 18. I've been fighting my demons ever since. Well, we'll fight our demons since the day we were born. We enter the real world. Which direction to take? We're at the spaghetti junction. What road do we go down to be the best version of me? Be the best version of you? Which road do we go down for that success? For everyone to be proud of who I am? What road do you take? No one knows what road you take. But just be the best you can be. Leave a legacy for people to follow. That's all I can say. Take care. One love. And speak soon. God bless.